A warm welcome back to your latest industry recap. Remember Global Airlines? Well, they're keen on more aircraft. Vietnam Airlines to order new planes and a very peculiar aircraft delivery. Why not begin there? Airbus is taking a different approach to delivering new commercial airplanes to customers in the United States, with an A350 delivery showcasing that. Airbus delivered an A350-900 to Delta, however, instead of simply sending its aircraft towards the US customer like it would on any other regular day, the delivery flight has a particular tracking. As highlighted by FlightAware, a leading flight tracker app, the aircraft for delivery headed towards Tokyo Narita International. The peculiar flight schedule does mark a trip around the world, but in the wrong direction, which is something you don't typically see when it comes to new plane deliveries. Airbus's strategy for delivering these new planes isn't necessarily a new tactic. It has been used before when trade tensions have unfolded in the past. These discussions surrounding Airbus's delivery of new commercial aircraft follow comments from one of its most important customers in Delta, suggesting that it would defer the delivery of new planes. See, US customer Delta has indicated that it would not pay tariff costs imposed on planes made by Airbus that it is expected to take delivery of. The airline's chief executive officer in Ed Bastian commented that deliveries would be deferred if those additional expenses were incurred, and as a result, the airline would find a more optimal time to take on the jets. To find a means to limit the overall impact on its business when taking on new jets, certainly tension does remain. As transcripts of conversations now show, well, Bastian stated that any additional costs would mean for them a real inability to take on new aircraft. This highlighted in a quarterly earnings call. Moreover, with Delta being so heavily reliant on Airbus as a plane maker to power its future fleet, well, the new acquisition of planes is crucial, and if it can't be done without challenges, well, there is definitely concerns there. Delta's CEO's comments on tariffs and their impact on Airbus shouldn't be surprising. In mid-February, the Airbus CEO also said that proposed tariffs would disrupt their operations across the United States, and as a result, force it to put its priorities elsewhere. Airbus stated that many airlines right around the world, and more explicitly outside of the United States, remain very eager to take on next-generation planes. Due to the eagerness as the challenges of dealing with the United States continue, they wouldn't hesitate to adjust their backlog moving forward, and that is something to certainly be mindful of, and why I continue to say that it remains a watch this space kind of thing. Over to Global Airlines, which have indicated their intention to increase their fleet by acquiring additional widebody aircraft in 2025. The startup made its plan clear through a press release, stating that the introduction of further widebody planes will occur this year before announcing a timeline for scheduled operations. Global Airlines' business model has focused on leveraging the A380, the world's largest passenger plane, solely to serve in-demand international markets from the United Kingdom. However, what other widebody aircraft remain on the horizon remains unclear. Operating solely with the A380 is what many consider a death wish. However, Global Airlines has remained for the moment quite determined to use this product. Talk of a prospective new deal emerged as the airline confirmed that Knighthood Global had been appointed as key advisors to their airline, and also therefore as a shareholder to support the development of the UK carrier as they prepare for launch. The purpose of the agreement is to gain executive appearance across their finances and operational divisions, while also supporting a strategy shift that will be effective in building the next chapter of their business, remembering as they continue to try and seek their air operators certification from the United Kingdom. Who are Global Airlines? Well, they're a British startup company that aims to really launch passenger services. Its bold target is to become an industry leader and leverage the A380's capacity to reach global markets. The company aims to expand its global market, but will initially focus on the likes of Los Angeles and New York, forming a core part of its route map, with London Gatwick serving as its home base eventually. I say that eventually because when the airline put forward its first two initial flights that it would look to launch, Gatwick was missing. After it became clear that also Global Airlines would not get off the ground with its own personnel, it partnered with High Flight to manage its operations. Despite being labelled as a fantasy airline from a video game by some, it does continue to plod along and certainly is an interesting watch this space. Over to the final story, and Vietnam Airlines is inching closer to the landmark purchase of new aircraft, which would elevate its narrow-body fleet. The prospective deal will see the airline now have principal approval from the government without the requirement for a state guarantee. What remains more important as well for the company is the significance of the contract for the long term of its business, as it navigates competition and rising demand. The contract will be for single-aisle planes, focusing on Vietnam Airlines' narrow-body operation. The carrier is looking to build a portfolio of commercial aircraft that can carry it into future decades. Regarding the airline's replacement plans, this new contract will directly replace its well-renowned A321ceo fleet, which is beginning to show signs of age and a lack of efficiency compared to current options. Fleet data shows that the airline still has, at the time of recording, 42 of your A321-200s, these averaging 13.1 years. So they're absolutely not, say, at the point where they do need to be retired, but if the airline is looking towards the future, the realization does have to be made that they won't be around for another 15 years, and it is better to continue relying on the next generation of single-aisle planes to really improve efficiency and make routes just all that more profitable. The new commitment that I speak of is likely to involve 50 aircraft. This is not necessarily a fresh development. As stated a couple of times throughout the last year or so, Vietnam Airlines has been seeking to place this contract, but it's just been really awaiting that final confirmation, and obviously on top of that, determining which direction it will head, with unsurprisingly the 737 MAX and A320neo family in contention for this deal. It is an important one for either respective manufacturer. Now, remembering that Vietnam Airlines has already purchased the 737 MAX, so this deal that I'm speaking about today is pretty vital in determining which direction they want to head. Do they believe the 737 MAX is going to be an adequate A321ceo replacement, or are they potentially in the camp where fleet commonality is so much better, remembering that there is a high-capacity MAX variant available in the 737-10, but with all the uncertainties surrounding certification, it makes it difficult for these companies to truly plan. Thanks a lot for watching, take care, do be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow for your next industry recap.
And we'll fly.